Bryan Gaiser is an investment advisor representative of Advisory Alpha LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. All opinions expressed by Bryan Gaiser are solely his own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This recording is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Advisory Alpha LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance, coaching, and educational services offered through Gaiser Financial Group. Gaiser Financial Group is a separate and unaffiliated entity of Advisory Alpha LLC. While tax and legal services may be discussed in the general course of financial and investment planning, Advisory Alpha does not provide tax or legal services. Please consult with your tax or legal professional prior to making decisions related to these issues. This material is not endorsed or approved by the Social Security Office or any other government agency. An annuity is a long-term financial product designed largely for asset accumulation and retirement needs. All guarantees are backed by the claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. All opinions expressed by externally cited sources are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. The case studies presented reflects the specific circumstances of one client and should not be considered a guarantee that another client or potential client may experience the same or certain level of results. This is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as investment recommendations or solicitation. Names have been changed to protect the anonymity of clients and are not testimonials in nature. Learn, grow, and take charge of your retirement. This is the Wealth Through Wisdom podcast with financial advisor Bryan Gaiser, founder of Gaiser Financial Group.
So it's that time of year, the time of year that I feel most people say no and roll their eyes and deep sighs because it's going to be dark at like 4 o'clock. Get ready for daylight savings time.
Trying to make me cry.
No.
I know.
Does it affect
I wish
you?
they would get rid of it instead of the other. It doesn't really affect me, but I like more like daylight. I'm not going to lie.
Well, this is the controversy. People want to get rid of it, but if we get rid of it, the idea is to stay in this phase where the darker, it's this phase we would stay in, not in the spring forward time phase. That's what scientists say.
Okay, maybe I don't want to get rid of it.
Right?
I would think the opposite. The logic would be, hey, let's have longer days.
That's what we want. That's what they want. But they say it's better for our health to have the sun do what it does in this. I don't know. Listen, I'm not a scientist, so
I guess it is lighter earlier, though, right?
Mm-hmm. It's supposed to be. All I know.
The darkest day is what? The 20th, 21st of December, right? The last first day of winter.
Winter solstice.
That's a long day. Winter solstice. But look how quickly fall's gone by.
I know, right?
Already.
Every year, faster
here we
and
are.
faster.
I mean, we're into the second, a third of it's already gone, and we're already into the second third.
Yep.
Already.
It'll be a new year. It'll be a new year before you know it. It happens every year. But before the new year comes around, reminder, well, a lot of people consider daylight savings time, the time change phases now and in the spring, is a time to refresh. And it serves as also a reminder for other things to check off our seasonable to-do list, like changing the batteries in your smoke detectors, replacing the filters in your HVAC. For some people in colder climates, winterizing their car. So let's think about it from the perspective that you have, Bryan, the financial to-dos, because even though we are approaching the end of the year, there is still time for us to get things done before the year's end. So what is it that we should be looking at as far as our financial year-end chore list and checklist?
Well, I think one of the big things is have you maxed out your 401k?
Okay.
Have you looked at it, maxed out your 401k? Or if you don't have 401k at work, are you contributing to an IRA, Roth IRA? Mm-hmm. Max those things out. And here's a little secret for folks that are listening. And this just recently, somebody came in. I'll tell you a quick story about it. This gentleman works. His wife doesn't work. Mm-hmm. He has a very good job. Mm-hmm. He wants to retire in about 1.5 years. So we're already meeting and going over a plan, making sure that his income's covered, making sure that we segment money for growth, segment money for income. Yeah. But in addition to that, of course, I'm going to say, hey, look, your retirement's all about lifestyle. I said, well, look, did you max out 401k? Well, I put in 10%. I said, but you have 200,000 sitting in a money market right now. Am I right? He said, yeah. I said, how long has your wife not worked? She retired about 5 years ago. I said, that's great from teaching. I said, that's great. And I said, so she's collecting a pension. Has she been contributing to a Roth? Well, she doesn't work. She can't contribute, right? If one spouse is married, the other spouse can contribute.
Oh, and they didn't know. That
does not work. Yeah, and they did not know that one that doesn't work could contribute. And I said, for the last 5 years, you could have put up $40,000 into that account.
Wow. Already. Okay.
And beginning of next year, that'd been 48 plus any growth. And I said, the best growth money out there is Roth. But even if it was just a regular IRA, Might as well put that money off to the side. You have 200,000 sitting over here in the money market. They just like to be cash heavy in the money market. I said, well, stay cash. Right now, that's not such a bad thing, getting 3-4%, but you're going to need to think about it a little bit more realistically when you do retire, but that's okay.
Okay.
So I think that's a big thing that people don't do. They don't review their goals. They don't know if they're, so he went on, pulled out the difference. He's going to be pulling out the difference and maxing out his 401k, because remember, he gets an extra 8,000. He's over 50.
Got it.
So he gets an extra 8,000. Now it's 31 grand.
That's the catch-up contribution rule that happens after you turn 50, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So knowing the rules, I think, is one thing I would do. I would say this year, if that's not on your list, get that on your list.
Okay.
But he was able to pack that in there. I said, well, go ahead and put 8 in for your spouse this year, and you can go ahead and put in another 8 beginning of next year for her as well.
Okay.
And I said, keep doing that. Just feed that out there. I said, when is that money available to you? Day one. The principal is always available on a Roth day one, or you're already over 59.5, even if it's an IRA, it's available to you. So max out those IRA and Roth contributions. What's the number one fear in retirement? Running out of money.
Yep.
We'll save more money, right?
Yep.
That means I'm not saving enough, is what you're saying in a roundabout way. Would you agree?
That, or we haven't crunched the numbers. We haven't done the math met with you to do the work that you do to show us this is how your money will work for you. And in fact, you do have enough money.
Yeah, exactly. And how do you do that? Well, you dial this number, 336-586-5861. That's 336-586-5861. Folks, well, I just sit down with you. It's a kind of a very comfortable meeting. And I just look at your big picture and I help you fine tune it. That's really what it boils down to. We look at what kind of pensions you're going to have. What is your Social Security going to look like? What is your retirement? What do you want it to look like? How much money do you have to draw off the assets that you've saved in 401ks and IRAs? Do you have debt? All of these kind of things. We're going to take it all into consideration to make sure that you're not worried about the number one fear in retirement, running out of money. So give us a call, 336-586-5861. I'm here in Greensboro. Happy to meet with you. Normally that first appointment takes about an hour. But that being said, another thing I think folks need to think about where some savings could come in, especially if they're not already 65, is that HSA account. Max it out. If you have an HSA, right, a health savings account.
Is that something, and that's something you would get through your employer, or is that an independent?
Or both.
Okay.
It's both.
Okay.
So you could have your own account. It's high deductible type accounts, right?
Yeah.
And you're able to max them out. And right now that's $8,600 for a couple, right? $4,300 for an individual. And it's 100% dollar for dollar tax write-off. And it doesn't matter the amount of money that you make. Like an IRA starts to phase out the benefit you get from an IRA as far as a tax deduction.
Yeah.
HSAs doesn't work that way.
So you can make $1 million and you can still max out your HSA. And then also it doesn't expire. Is that correct? We can use it all the way to the day we die.
Yeah, it doesn't expire. You just can't contribute to it after age 65.
Got it.
Just can't contribute to it after age 65. But max them out. Why not? Dollar for dollar. You pay for things with already taxed money. I think that's a good plan if you ask me. You can also roll that over into an IRA eventually, whoever inherits off you if you don't use it all.
Got it.
I recommend, hey, be smart when you pay for your medical care. If it's small bills, pay it out of your own pocket. Let that keep growing in that pot so that if you do have a big bill that's unexpected because of a heart attack or whatever. I mean, I had a good friend just not long ago have a heart attack and he had triple bypass surgery a couple of weeks ago. He's doing well, and shout out to you, Mike. But that being said, the bottom line is you just never know what's going to happen. He's 61. You know what I mean? So you just don't know. And he had no sign of it, no warning, except that very day he just started getting short of breath. And he told his wife, call 911. And she didn't even take him serious at first. And he said, no, call 911. Because he's always healthy. He runs, he worked, he stayed in real good shape. Yeah, boom, it hit him. Like you said, you never know. You never know. So plan. Genetics. It's and the idea about the work that you do. We got to hope for the best, but plan for the worst. That's what the planning process involves. Yeah. That's exactly what it does. Folks, 336-586-5861. Love to sit down with you. A no cost, no obligation appointment that's completely wrapped around you. It's not to advertise us. It's to look at your big picture. Now, that being said, tax loss harvesting is something that's Still, I cannot believe myself, but a lot of advisors out there are not practicing the tax loss harvesting. And that means when you take your good buys and your bad buys inside your brokerage accounts.
Yeah.
This isn't IRAs or 401ks. So when you're getting you got a win and a loss and a win, right? But what you want to do is you want to balance that out. And usually there's software to do this inside of a portfolio, a brokerage portfolio, that'll do it for you. But you got to kind of hit the button and oversee it.
Yeah.
But our back office always does this. And that's just picking winners and losers throughout your year and doing some sales of both so that you minimize what's taxable inside of your brokerage portfolio. So that's a good idea. But also you want to look at, make sure you're balanced, make sure you're checking your risk tolerance time. It's risk tolerance time too. Hey, how old am I? Am I retiring in a year or two? Should I back off some of this risk? Should I do things from a safety standpoint? And a lot of folks neglect that, especially in a good year. So far, the S&P's up 12, 13, 14%. That's great, and that's our benchmark. And maybe you're up 12, 13, maybe more. Maybe you're up 10, so you don't think about, hey, maybe I need to check my risk. And I think it's time to check your risk temperature. I think things are a little out of whack. The market's about twice the GDP right now. There's some things that are a little bit scary that show signs of a 2000, 2001, 2002, what we kind of ignored back then. I think it's being ignored a little bit. So it might be time to back off some of that risk as well. And I think that's important, Heather. Folks, I'm here in Greensboro off of Dolly Madison Road. You can't forget that. Dolly Madison, what a hero. 336-586-5861. Right off Dolly Madison and friendly Gaiser Financial Group. We will sit down with you. We're going to look at your big picture. I'm going to break things down. I'm going to show you the best place to draw your money in retirement at the lowest cost possible. Can we reduce your tax? If we draw strategically, we can reduce the taxes that you pay in retirement. There's so many things that you will not think about when it comes to retirement. And that's, hey, what money's best to spend first? There's so many variables that we go over in just that little hour of time. And we put together a nice setup for you. Folks, no cost, no obligation. 336-586-5861. Give us a call.
Thanks for listening to the Wealth Through Wisdom podcast. To learn more, visit geiserfinancial.com. Bryan Gaiser is an investment advisor representative of Advisory Alpha LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. All opinions expressed by Bryan Gaiser are solely his own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This recording is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Advisory Alpha LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance, coaching, and educational services offered through Gaiser Financial Group. Gaiser Financial Group is a separate and unaffiliated entity of Advisory Alpha LLC. While tax and legal services may be discussed in the general course of financial and investment planning, Advisory Alpha does not provide tax or legal services. Please consult with your tax or legal professional prior to making decisions related to these issues. This material is not endorsed or approved by the Social Security Office or any other government agency. An annuity is a long-term financial product designed largely for asset accumulation and retirement needs. All guarantees are backed by the claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. All opinions expressed by externally cited sources are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. The case studies presented reflects the specific circumstances of one client and should not be considered a guarantee that another client or potential client may experience the same or certain level of results. This is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as investment recommendations or solicitation. Names have been changed to protect the anonymity of clients and are not testimonials in nature.